Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. The Senate. Just nuts. I mean, I can't even tell you, anytime Mitch McConnell runs his mouth, he actually drives me crazy. So earlier today, we sat down with Senator Doug Jones. He came by to talk about his new book, Bending Towards Justice, the Birmingham church bombings that changed the course of civil rights. And we're gonna have that great interview later, but what's real interesting in the conversation when we talked to him, because we talked to him again about the college admission scandals, we talked about terms of justice, but one of the things that I asked him, when I asked him the whole issue of will these parents actually go to jail, really it's about these two systems, the two systems that we have in this country of justice. And we keep seeing this in numerous stories over and over. Two systems of justice, but it's not just justice. It's two systems when it comes to education, two systems when it comes to economics, two systems when it comes to who gets capital and who doesn't. The question is, how do you change it? Now, Senator Jones says that he's trying to use his power in the Senate to change that through various bills. Senator Elizabeth Warren is saying she's trying to change those things as she is running for president. We also talked to her today. Here is that conversation. One of the issues that we have, a lot of our viewers have been talking about, and that is this college scandal that's been taking place. As many of us, we've dealt with people who can criticize affirmative action programs, things along those lines, but to have these rich parents, mostly white, essentially buying their way into colleges and universities, it's also revived this whole issue of legacy admissions, where it was really based upon your parents and your grandparents. And I asked President George W. Bush this 15 years ago, and I'll ask you, that is, should there be legacy in college admissions? Because shouldn't it be based upon really your merits as opposed to who your mom and your dad, your grandfather, your grandmother was?
Well, you know, for somebody who went to a commuter college that cost $50 a semester, I kind of come down on the side of you got to get out there and row your own boat. And I just want to know that when I'm out there rowing my boat, that I've at least got a chance to row equally against everybody else. Mm-hmm. And when kids are getting a leg up, that's a real problem. And of course, this particular scam is one that just is. I only know what I'm seeing in the papers, but it really is disturbing.
So you believe legacy should not be used? It should solely be based upon your merit, your grades, and other things that are outlined, not your legacy.
So I think what matters the most and should matter the most is what it is that you produce. You know, what your grades are like, what your test scores are like, and what experiences you've had. This is about admitting somebody to school based on what they've been able to carve out in their lives. Now, look, you always got to stop there and say, that still doesn't mean the playing field's level for everybody. Mm-hmm. Not in a world where public schools differ dramatically, where some kids can afford to get a bucket of tutoring. And it goes all the way back. You know, I think you know this, Roland, that I've put out now a universal child care and pre-K proposal that would cover all of our kids, 0 to 5, and make sure that they all have high-quality child care and access to first-rate learning experiences for the 5-year-olds, for the 4-year-olds, for the 3-year-olds, for the 2-year-olds. Because here's the deal. The well-to-do parents are getting those experiences for their children, but families that don't have a bucket of money can't do that. And so I see this child care bill putting the money in so there really is universal high-quality child care. I see this as a real place to start the process of making sure that every kid, not just the kids of rich people, but every kid has a chance to build something in his or her life.
So if we take that, we also take, of course, the recent study that showed that schools where white students are largely going to or get $23 billion more what we see is from beginning to end, whether it's pre-K, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, and then college, we're seeing these inequities. And so for African Americans, my audience in particular, people talk about, oh no, we were measuring folks the same. But the reality is, if you are black in America, you are dealing with inequality when it comes to schools, literally from the moment folks are born and they're going into pre-K all the way through college. And to have a white dropout make more of the money than a college graduate, what does that say about this nation?
Boy, you hit the nail on the head on that one. And in fact, among our most under-resourced schools are the HBCUs, which serve often first generation in college, a lot of young people who've had really challenging backgrounds in terms of what's been available in the public school system. And they come to these wonderful colleges and universities. But those colleges and universities are not getting the kind of federal support that I think they should be entitled to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we really want to have a level playing field, then that means we've got to be willing to invest the resources at a minimum from birth through whenever you finish your education, whether you finish in high school, whether you finish in technical school, whether you finish at 4 years at college, whether you finish at a graduate degree. But we've got to make sure that the quality is high and that everybody's got access. And when I say access, I don't mean access if you're willing to take on a double bucket of student loan debt. As you probably know, Roland, African American students take on more student loan debt and then have more trouble paying that debt after they graduate because they get hit by the double whammy of coming from families where they need to borrow more money, and then when they get out of school, ending up in jobs that don't pay as well. And that's just one more place where the system, may all look neutral on its face. But I'm telling you, that's not how it works out. And that's why we've got to fight back on this.
A couple of more questions. First off, today we have 2.6 million black-owned businesses in America. Several years ago, we had 1.9 million black-owned businesses. But when we had 1.9 million black-owned businesses, they were doing an average revenue of about $110,000. Today, it's $54,000. So we have 700,000 more. They're doing less. One of the issues is also access to capital. One of the problems is that when you look at, for many African Americans, the only collateral they have is their home. But when you look at the home foreclosure crisis, when you were on my show, Washington Watch, we talked about this, where black folks lost 53% of wealth during the home foreclosure crisis. And you said then that it would take 2 generations to recoup that. If you're president, how are you proposing to deal with access to capital for black-owned businesses to be able to grow capacity, to be able to build and grow, go beyond one employee? Then also this housing crisis, which still is impacting us, that black people have never gotten above 50% home ownership.
Yes. So I'm glad you asked about both of these, because these are right in the spaces, as you know, where I work all the time. On the question of access to capital, look, these banks are regulated institutions. They get a license, basically, from the federal government to operate a monopoly or a near monopoly. And that means they have a responsibility back to their communities. And we don't have bank regulators now, in my view, who are pushing hard enough on this. Responsibility back to the community means, in part, making money available so that small businesses get a chance to get their feet good and strong and then grow. And that is a particular problem in black and brown communities. So for openers, you don't even have to have a change in the law. You don't have to get a law through Congress. What you need are some regulators who are really committed on this. And I promise you, in a Warren administration, this is something I'm on top of. On the housing, I've got a housing proposal right now that would be historic, making a new investment in housing. It would be over 3 million new housing units. They would be in cities, in rural areas. This would be about housing for middle-class families, working-class families, the working poor, and the poor poor. And it specifically calls out in this bill the impact of redlining and the impact of the mortgage foreclosure crisis, which 1-2 punch has kept African-American families from being able to get homes in the first instance and then having their homes taken away from them in the case of what happened during the deregulatory period that led up to the financial crisis and the foreclosures that occurred after that. And what my bill says is that for people who live in these formerly redlined areas and certain low-income neighborhoods, we're going to make down payment assistance available so that they can get a foot in the door to start building up some wealth. So far as I know, this is the first time that there has been a bill like this that specifically addresses the discrimination that the federal government itself enforced back for decade after decade, and that specifically addresses the fact that the regulators just ignored what was happening in African-American communities during the build-up to the financial crisis and immediately afterwards. You know, I think it's important to acknowledge what's going wrong and take steps in the direction of remediating it, and that's what my housing bill is all about. And I've got a lot of good co-sponsors on this, and I think it's just terrific. So this is part of what I'm going to be talking about when I'm headed out over the next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to be in Tennessee, and I'm going to be in Mississippi, and I'm going to be in Alabama, and I'm hoping to talk about this bill.
Well, I certainly look forward to those conversations, and certainly it'd be great to have this discussion in one of those places, talking to African Americans, and we would love to be able to moderate that town hall because our audience has lots of other questions on many other issues. And when I watch these other town halls on these mainstream networks, they really aren't talking about the things that we actually care about. And so we would love to do that with you and even some of the other candidates.
Well, I would love to do it, too. You know, I should tell you, I've already got scheduled a CNN town hall for Monday night, and it's going to be at Jackson State University, as you know, quite famous, historically black college. A lot of folks are doing their town halls elsewhere. I wanted to be able to do this one at a college like Jackson State. I wanted to be able to do it in Mississippi. I wanted to be able to talk about issues that I think are important to people all around this country. I want to go everywhere, talk to everyone. I think this is how we build a grassroots movement, not only to win in 2020 and not only to win the White House, but also to take back the Senate, to take back some of our state houses and the governor's mansions, but after we win those elections, to start making real change in January 2021, because that's really the point of this fight. We got to be an America that doesn't just work for a thin slice at the top. We've got to be an America that works for everyone.
All right. Well, looking forward to that conversation. Look, I'm from Texas, so I'm sure my folks at Houston-Tillotson or Texas Southern University or Prairie View would love to have you on their campuses. So we'll make that thing happen.
I'd love it. I love it. You know, I'm a University of Houston grad.
Oh, well, see, I went to Yates High School. Yates High School is across the street.
That's right.
So matter of fact, why don't we do this here? You know what? They're all going to all these other places. Let's do it at a high school like Jack Yates.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Let's see what we can arrange. You're the best on this, Roland.
I promise you.
We want to get out there for everybody.
I will call the Houston superintendent, and I will make that happen.
All right,
cool. I appreciate it. And of course, I've already called the superintendent for Houston Independence Public Schools, and she loves the idea. And so we'll certainly let you know when we have that forum at Jack Hayes High School with Senator Elizabeth Warren. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, a lot of us trying to get healthy in 2019. Some of us trying to get fit, get ready for, of course, upcoming spring and summer when this cold weather decides to go away. And so one of the things that I did, of course, with the is go through the Dherbs full body cleanse. They have 27 different cleanses that you can actually try, which allow you to remove toxicity from your body, those processed foods and the fried foods. That can also put more pep in your step and give you more energy as well. If you want to try the Dherbs full body cleanse, go to Dherbs.com, or you can also call 1-866-4-DHERBS, 1-866-4-DHERBS. Now, when you go to checkout, please use the promo code Roland to get a discount. If you want to lose some weight and improve your overall well-being, try the Dherbs full body cleanse. Again, Dherbs.com or 1-866-4-DHERBS, and don't forget to use the promo code Roland. And we certainly appreciate Dherbs being a partner here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.